Thanks for joining us on another exciting episode of Successory Business Lounge, where we bring you entrepreneurs to share their success stories, and we also talk about very important issues and topics in business and entrepreneurship as a whole. Today, to discuss this very important topic with me, I have Busayo Ola, who is the founder and VP of Sweet Nation Foods, a specialty in snack manufacturing and a distributor based in Abuja. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here to at least share some of the things that I've learned over the course of years of doing business. Money mindset, there's what it is, there's what it isn't. I think we have to be careful defining that. Right now, you have all of these tropes, money on my mind, money on my mind.
Mhm.
But for me, I think you have to take a more holistic view to it than just, okay, I'm focused on making money. And so for the money mindset, I just look at it as being, that the MMM of money.
Okay.
And the
When you say holistic, now you've talked about making money, which is the ideas that's rather the mindset of most people. They just want to make money. Now, what is the managing and the multiplying part?
So making money is not enough, and there's never enough money. There is the need to not just make, but to manage money, because a lot of people are making money and they're wasting, they're hemorrhaging money. It's like seeing somebody who maybe was in an accident or they're injured and they're bleeding. It's not just enough to continue pumping blood or transfusing blood. You have to stop the bleeding, you stop the bleeding. And that is so important. So if you're just looking at making, you also have to, you'll be limited. So you have to manage what you make. And the purpose of you managing is so that you have enough, not just to live and for your needs and maybe your wants, but you also need to have enough for the future. You also need to have enough to invest and grow your money. Because you can use your money to multiply money. You can use your money to make more money. That's the multiplication aspect of it. So we have to take that broader look at it and say, look, it's not just about making money and then frittering it away and wasting it or not being able to account for money. There's that role of managing money.
So can you give us examples of management of money and wastage of money?
So when you want to manage money, the approach to managing money is, for me, is very simple. We have to first of all take a few steps back and look at it and say, look, am I able to document my income? So do I actually know what I'm making?
Okay.
Personally, whether as an entrepreneur in business, I need to know what I'm making. Next, I need to now know where my money is going. So I need to track my expenses.
Wow.
I need to track expenditure. I need to know where that money is going.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, a lot of us, we attribute it to different things. We would say it's the Nigerian factor.
Yes,
We would say it's my village people that are the ones. That's why I never have them. But we really need to identify and tie down all of those outlets where the money is. It's just like a basket, you understand? You're pouring more water into the basket, it's not going to, there's no retention because of the holes in the basket. So you need to now start identifying the holes and start plugging the unnecessary ones. There'll always be expenditure. You have to track it. Once you've done tracking it, the next step is you now have to have a budget. So tracking gives you a baseline. And all of these things are easy right now with technology, much easier. Most important things, you have the discipline. You can go online, go to the App Store, download a budget tracker app. I personally use One Money, digit one, MONEY, money. One Money, there are so many others. There's Money Manager. One Money is on the Android store, and it's on the Play Store. iOS, you see a bunch of budget trackers, budgets and money. You have to track your expenses. So when you track your expenses for about a month, and it's very simple. As you go through your day, just punch in what you're doing with money. You punch in and say, okay, you download the app, you set up categories of expenses: food, transport, what I give religious, or maybe to church or to the mosque or whatever I give to. So the outlets, the key categories of where my money is going
to most of the time.
that I want to track. I put some miscellaneous, maybe personal, cosmetics, whatever I know I spend money on, I put categories there, and I begin to punch those in as I go through my day. So on a day-to-day basis, either as I go through the day or at the end of the day, I just punch in. Today I spent 2,000 on transport to visit so. I spent 1,500 on snacks. I bought food, and then in doing that with discipline, consistency, do that. At the end of at any point in time, you can look through and say, okay, you can see a summary, one click of what you spent in the month. You can analyze. You can know what did I. And the truth is that most of us will be surprised. There are things that by the end of the month or end of the week, you look at and you'll be like, I would not remember that I did this, I spent that. So it's important. So that managing money and it's because you don't want to waste. Yes, you can splurge occasionally, but you need to identify the things that are draining your funds, and you now have to be able to evaluate that which of them are necessities, because the money is never enough. It's never. Nobody has enough. It's so once you have that in mind, you understand. Look, I can't just make. I need to manage this money. I need to document what's coming in. I need to track my expenditure. I need to now form a budget. And I can do it in the apps because I just press it and say, okay, look, now for this new month, each of these categories, I only want to spend XYZ amount. As I'm putting that in, it's subtracting. So throughout the month, I know how much is that I can spend there. Oh, you have reached the budget. I say, okay, maybe no more eating out this month. Maybe I need to have
so you now for each category, you can put a certain amount for each category. So let's say for shopping, let's say for your groceries, you can have a certain amount. And as you go through the month, and you see that you are tilting towards going above or beyond, you can stop yourself and say, no, let me hold it right there before I cross.
So the budgeting must never be top. It must be broken down. So that's why you want those categories. The average person can have anywhere from 8 to 15 of those categories, but usually 8 will cover a lot of things. You understand? Like I said, maybe if you eat out, you have a category for how much you spent eating out versus how much you spent cooking, eating at home and all. Transport, you will have transport, what it costs you. You will have money, maybe church, you're a church person or you're a religious person, whatever your religious affiliation is. You have a category for the money that you put into that. You have other things, maybe you have personal, maybe like I said, cosmetics, other things like of that nature. What else? Several of those categories for me, things like home maintenance, where you need to keep your house and
your
fix
health.
things around. Then you have categories for your health. You have categories maybe for family. Some people just money that you give to family members separate, so you can track that separate from your general giving. Exactly. and I think it's important to do that because that way you can separate that from your general giving to people outside. So you don't combine it together. And then here you have a giving to family category, and as you're punching it in, so at the end of the month you can really say, okay, how much am I putting into giving to my family members? And it's important because then you also want to, that can help you look like, how much did I give in total? How much did I give to family members? For somebody else, you may have to reduce, like, look, I'm
giving too much outside.
Here, exactly. Or someone said, look, maybe I need to do more in that area. So that's the value of it. The budget must never be overall. You start from those categories, determine what you want to do. So let's say month of May, and that's for anybody that's watching this. Let's say you are as we're month of May, I spend the remaining 10 days of May, or the following month, June, tracking expenses. When I've done that, I now have a baseline. I can look at it and say, last month I spent on feeding, I spent 100,000 on eating out. This month, I must reduce it. So now I'm going to set a budget now of 80,000 for this new month. So at the beginning of new month, I put that there and I start the month and I'm punching it in. And it's showing me that 80,000 so far you have spent 35,000. Brings it to my consciousness. So it's another level of consciousness that ensures that, look, you have control over the money and you're managing your money. And with that, what else I'll say about that is once you have done all of those, you now have to have certain guidelines or policies regarding outflows.
Okay. Yes. So can you tell us what do you mean by outline or guidelines?
For example, a good one is loans. Okay. Loans are another way. Another time, that's another means where money goes out. And a lot of times,
loans to people. Friends.
You're loaning people money. You have to have a policy in your mind. You have to come to a place and say, look, for me, let me use an example. I don't loan out money that I cannot forego.
Okay.
So any money that I cannot forego, I don't loan out. And so it's measured, it's capped. So it's irrespective of what the problem is that you may have. I know that I can only give you a certain amount. I will not go past that amount under any condition. I can, if I want to give, I will give and say, okay, look, I'm giving you this little amount to support you. If I want to loan you, I will not loan you above a certain threshold. Because sometimes a lot of us are now bitter, we are angry. It's become a situation whereby people are just, I'm loaning, I want to borrow this, I want to borrow that. So you have to have rules that govern even your loaning out funds and things like that. That's part of managing the money, right? Because there's a lot of need in our society, but you must come to understand I can't help everyone. I can't solve every problem.
It's true. Very true. Wow. That was very, very expansive. So the third aspect now is the multiplying of the money.
Yes.
So if you can also throw some light in that.
So multiplying money really just centers around investment. And the idea of investment is that you use your money to make more. Without having to put your physical effort in. There are things you can put your money into and more, they will make you more money. It's an investment. It can be investment into your own business or investment in someone else's business.
Okay.
That's how you multiply your money. You take money and you put it into ventures that will give you more money. That's investment. I think the issue we have a lot of times is that because we've gone through so much, because we don't manage, we don't have enough left for investment. So first of all, people don't gain enough financial education and intelligence, literacy about investment and multiplying your money. But you can multiply money. Money can be multiplied. When you invest money, you can use money to make more money. And that's what you want to do. And so the question is, if you can use money to make more money, why waste money? Why waste money? That's why you have to manage your money. Because I don't want to work for every single day of my life. I should be able to rest. I should be able to take a vacation. I should be able to spend time with my children. So I want a situation whereby I get to a stage where my money can go out there and be making me more money. But if I don't manage that money, if I burn through all of that money, then at the end of the day, I will not have any left to invest. I can invest in the government. I can invest in that. I can invest in the money market, I can invest in the stock market. But these are all means whereby you put in your money, you don't exert any effort. Other people are running the business and they give you returns. Even investing in your own business is the same thing. You have a value engine that creates value, you put money into it. And the idea is that as more money comes out of that, you put that money back to invest, to grow it. And so that's what investment, that's the multiplying part of it.
Just sharing with the person, like, oh, what do you think about investment? As we're not growing younger, what should we begin to do? Let's try investment and then let's see. I was just trying to rub minds on that. And the person told me that, oh no, doing investment will just make you stingy. And that kind of hit me, because when you're talking about managing money, knowing what you spend, what not to, what to cut out, tracing leakages in your finances and all that. The person said, if you do that, now it will make you stingy. And right now, so I'm just wondering, that is the mindset that some people have about, what you talked about now, making money, managing it, and multiplying. And from what you've explained, it's going to make you more structured in your finances.
Certainly.
But some people have this mindset that this is going to make them stingy, or it will not make other people to favor them. Because if they don't give, other person will say, oh no, because you didn't give me, or because you didn't help me as much as I wanted you to help me, or the expectation didn't meet up to mine, then they won't help. So what's your take on that kind of mindset?
About rich people and the way they are with their money. And people fail to understand that you have to have these rules and these principles. And when you have principled, people can see you as a bad person, as a wicked person, as a stingy person, because you are principled. But once you understand that, look, I'm not going to solve everyone's problem. I can't give it all away. No matter how bad there is a need in society, I can't solve every problem. And I shouldn't give it all away. If you don't have that kind of mindset, if you don't have that understanding, you will give out and give out and give out, and Someone said the best thing you can do for the poor is to not become one of them.
Mm. Mm.
So
That's deep.
if you keep giving it all away, you're going to become one of the poor. And then the poor people you are trying to help will look around and say, look at this one, useless man. You wasted all the resources. Look at how the extent God has blessed you. Look at all the things you have.
And you wasted.
And you didn't manage. So it's not enough for us to just think that, unless, and sometimes some people are people pleasers. So I'm not speaking against giving. You have to give generously, but everything has its time, everything has its season, everything has its extent. You shouldn't give it all away. And you have people that there's that just because they want validation, they want people to like them. They are people pleasers. Here in our context, we call it the man is nice syndrome. I want that the man is nice. I want people to believe I'm nice. Yes. I want people to like me. I want them to, because of that, I'm giving unduly. And no, you have to have that balance. I mean, from a religious point of view, even Jesus said, you don't give what belongs to the children, to the dogs. So there's a place for allocating. There's that needs to go out. There's that you must be withheld.
Society today, we see a lot of people struggling with getting money. So do you think that most people's financial struggles come from lack of money or lack of financial thinking?
Then our environment is what has shaped a lot of that lack.
Yeah.
That the environment that has so much lack, where in the mindset where people by default live on survival mindset. What I see there is that we need that financial thinking. We need to change the mindset of our people from survival to day to day to understand and to believe that I can build a better future. I can build a future where I become financially stable. It is possible. But when you look at the lack of money is not always a result of, doesn't always result from a lack of financial thinking. The environment you are shaped, you're raised in, the peculiarities of the economy will bring a lot of people down. So if you are not, for example, if you don't have access to even the most basic education, you cannot read, you cannot write, that reduces greatly your ability to manage, multiply money to a certain level. You may only be able to operate on a survival basis because the skills necessary, all these things we are talking about, to manage, to budget, all of those kind of things. In 2026, the use of technology, the use of solving the problems that are relevant in 2026 may require a certain level of education. And unfortunately, if you're in an environment where you don't even have access to the most basic of education, that look at things like something as little as intelligence. When we look at factors that determine intelligence, and IQ, yes, across the world, different races, different nationalities, regions, all of those, there are differences. But one thing also that we don't understand is that intelligence is also driven by nutrition, especially at early stage.
Yes.
So if a child is not well fed, doesn't have the right nutrition
to develop,
the brain development is limited. So once you are limited, that just goes to show that it's not purely just financial thing. There are people that because of their environment, they are already limited, they are already capped, and we can do our best, but we may not get optimal results.
There's one hard truth that I think we are coming to terms with in Nigeria because our economic climate kind of affects every aspect. But I want to ask that, do you think, you talked about environment and financial mindset, do you think that Nigerians glorify struggle too much instead of focusing on sustainability and wealth creation?
Struggle. Glorifying struggle mentality. I think sometimes of the hustle mentality. You understand? The mindset of, I just need to work. I won't say we glorify struggle, because as we have seen a shift in the society, in our thinking, in fact, now we are glorifying the lack of struggle, the lack of that. Look, I don't need to struggle. I'm looking for soft work. I need maximum soft life, work that I don't need to struggle. Other people have struggled. I don't. So I don't think in particular. In the past, I think we have put too much emphasis on hard work over smart work. We have always, as people, as Africans, we are just physically we are strong. We can get things done. And you see that when you look at our development over the years, we have still maintained that idea of, look, we'll solve this through physical. While in other parts of the world, you see that people take a step back and they begin to look at these problems and analyze and say, look, how can I don't want to have to do this anymore. Can I create something that will do that
more
instead
strategic.
Exactly. And so they've taken that step back. And so when we look at struggle and hustle, because hustle is just about, you know what, I'm looking for any opportunity I can get. So today I'm doing a little bit of this, tomorrow I'm doing a little bit of that, I'm doing that. And while that has its place, there's a place for expertise.
Yes.
And you can't always just be a jack of all trades and expect to excel.
Yeah.
People are looking for experts. People are looking for people that are very exceptionally good at what they do. People that are focused. So when you want to get to certain levels of wealth, and you need to become someone that first of all has financial education, understanding of money and how money works. But you also need to understand that it's not just solely by my hard work and my effort, my struggle, or my hustle, because there has to be higher level thinking added to that physical work, added to the struggle. I'll give you an example. Look around Abuja now, you're driving around your city. The people are in the rush the most are the taxi drivers.
Yes.
They don't stop at the traffic lights. They're driving through, they're beating lights, they're turning when they shouldn't turn, they're driving one way. But they are not known for being the wealthiest or the most productive people. Why? Because it's not just about mindless activity or struggle. No, there needs to be higher level thought. There needs to be strategy. There needs to be the understanding that, look, if I want it done, it doesn't have to be my own personal effort. I can multiply my effort. I can multiply my money. I can leverage people, leverage systems, leverage structure. They don't know that. So Yoruba will say kirakita or dollar. That means it's not just by the hustle and the running up and down. If not, taxi drivers, keke, and so they will be the wealthiest of people. But it's not just about that. So there's the need for that higher level thinking and approach to.
So can you tell us the difference between someone who works for money and someone who intentionally builds wealth?
You have residual income, you have passive income. So that's one way to look at this idea of working for money versus building wealth. Earned income is direct trading your time, energy, but directly from. So anyone at the level of the earned income is earning money. You trade your time, your energy, your skill, your talent directly. And you are paid. You do the work one time, you're paid one time. You do your work in the month of May, at the end of May, you receive a salary. That is one level. That is somebody that is working to make money. Now, taking a few steps back, you now look at it and assess it and you say, okay, look, am I going to do this for the rest of my life? Because if I don't work in June, I'm not going to get paid in June. If I'm getting paid at the end of every job I do as a contractor, I'm not going to, once I don't work, I'm not going to get paid. Residual income is about doing certain types of work once and then getting income for it from it continually. You understand? When people write a book, when they put things out on YouTube and everything, you've done that once. People can watch that for 5-10 years and ongoing, and you still get, when you sing a song and all of those kind of things. So that's residual income. That now moves you from the fact that, look, I'm not just working. There's work I can do today that will yield me returns over the years. Even in business as an entrepreneur, the key is to build systems. to look at a particular process in your business and say, look, I want to document this step so that now not only am I the only one able to do it, somebody else can come in, they can follow this process and they can replicate, they can get repeatable results.
Yeah.
Once they get repeatable results, that removes me from the equation. So now I'm building wealth, but I'm building wealth because I've done that work. I put them. They will do the work. I will pay them a salary, and my wealth will increase. Right? They will go out there. They will do the work. They will sell the product. They will make the product, sell it, and the product will go out there. I will get profit on the product, and that profit can then be reinvested into the business. So you have earned income, you have residual income, you have passive income that requires no effort of your own. So if you put some work in, you put some money in the stock market. So other people are the ones running the business. You don't have to do anything. You buy treasury bills, or you invest in the money market. You're not the one running the business. Put your money. So somebody who is looking about building wealth strategically must look beyond what I must do personally with my own effort and to build, to make money. I'm now thinking, and I first of all understand the other means where I can make money, where I can leverage people, I can leverage systems, I can leverage structure to build money, to build wealth for myself. And as I build wealth, I also understand, like we are talking about the MMM, that is not just okay to just make money. I must manage it and I must multiply it. That is using my money to make more money.
So we see a lot of entrepreneurs who are busy, they are busy in their businesses, but they are not profitable. How can a business owner shift from survival mode to strategic thinking, strategic financial thinking?
Survival mode to strategic financial thinking. In business, every business person must understand the difference between three things. Income or revenue, that's the first one.
Whoa, income or revenue?
Same, those two are the same. There's income, that you also call it revenue, you call it turnover, different names for that. Every business person must understand the difference between income, second is profit, and the third is cash. Income, profit, cash. Yes. You can have income. You are making sales, but you don't have profit.
No.
That is one particular problem. And so this is why it's important to entrepreneurs to have financial intelligence. You can have income without profit. You are running a business, sales are being made. When all is said and done, there is no profit. That's number one. You can have income, profit, but no cash.
That's very tricky. Say that again.
You can have income, you can be making profit,
but no
cash. Because profit a lot of times is on paper. Cash is what you have in the bank.
That is liquidated.
Exactly. I bought it for 1 million naira. Look, I sold it for 1 million naira. It cost me 600,000 to make and sell to the customer, to get to the customer. My profit on paper is 400,000. But the customer has not paid. He told me I will pay you at the end of the month. Now he calls me and says, that thing you brought, we like it, we need 5 more. Come and supply us. But they have signed the document, they've signed your invoice, and they've told you before you came to supply, we will pay you after 30 days. You don't have any cash. But you had, on paper, you had income because you made a sale.
Yeah.
You have profits on paper, but there is no cash.
And then for some times, they can even make part payment, which is not enough to cover the cost.
Exactly.
No, for you to say that's a profit.
Exactly. So let's say you're a supplier and you supply supermarkets. A lot of, overwhelming majority of them will buy and they'll put you on payment terms of maybe 14 days, 30 days, some even say 60 days.
Yeah.
So you can be in business and be profitable and feel like, I don't have any money. It's because there's no cash. Right? So you have to understand those differences. So some people may be busy, they are not profitable because something is broken in their business model. Understand that, look, I'm not making a profit. I don't have enough knowledge about my cost structure. I'm not making a profit. But there are a lot of people that think they're not making profit. The problem is they have a cash problem. Right? They're not getting that cash.
Okay.
You understand? And profitable on paper. Like I said, profit is on paper. Cash is what you have in the bank. Cash is what you have in your hands as well. And so if you're doing a lot of business, and it applies to a lot of people that do business and sell on credit.
Okay.
So that distinction is very important. That look, you have to. So how do you know whether or not you're making profit? And you need financial intelligence. You need accounting. That's what will tell you whether or not you're making profit. Then the cash aspect is now you look at your bank account. You look at what's going on, and then you understand that look, is it that I'm not making profit, or is that I have a cash problem? Then now I may need to cut down on my rate of growth, the number of supplies I'm sending out. I may need to actually tighten my credit,
your credit,
my credit terms and
facility,
other credit facilities, and say, look, I can't sell this. You have to pay me now. You have to pay me after 1 week instead of 1 month. That's one aspect of it. Moving from survival to strategic financial thinking. A lot of businesses, if you're not a funded startup, when you start, you'll be in survival mindset. In that survival phase where the money I'm making, I'm just trying to use it to make it to next month. I just want to make salaries at the end. I just want to make electricity bills. I just want to pay all of those things. As you shift, you have to come to the point where you take a few steps back and look at the business more holistically and say, look, number one, you have to look first of all external factors. I want to look at the economy. I want to look at the competitive landscape. Am I in the right business? Because if I'm in a business where I've been 3-4 years, I'm still in survival mode, I have to ask, is there really a path to wealth in this business? If I have competitors that are more well-funded, that have more economies of scale, they push out more product, and for some reason they have an advantage, they're able to produce cheaper, and here I am struggling with this much. So one aspect of survival after a period of time is to look at it and say realistically, is there a business, is there a profitable enterprise here that can get me this amount of profit? And I will need help with that. Sometimes I will need accountants, I will need people in finance to actually help me look at it and say, survival. Another thing, when we look at survival, we're going to strategic financial thinking. One of the biggest causes of businesses remaining in survival mode is owner's draw.
Owner's draw. Okay.
What the owner of the business is pulling out of the business for their own personal purposes. And so you have businesses that the owner is not tracking what they are drawing. As the money is being made, they are pulling it out to attend to
other personal
issues, to fund their personal lifestyle. I've heard of businesses, even here in Abuja, where somebody has a supermarket and the staff members come in that, look, madam will show up at 11, clear the till, take all the money that's there, she's gone. They don't even have money to give change to customers. And show up at 11, she's back again at 4, clears the till again, and all those kind. That's money that's being drawn out of the business. You will never really have enough to invest back into the business, to retaining your earnings,
I
your
know
profits.
one that, sorry not to cut you. There was this story of a lady that said when they were growing up, the mom had, she had 3 successful businesses: a tailoring shop, a bakery, and a supermarket. She said, but those businesses ran down because when they were going to school, they would have to take their provisions from the supermarket. And there was no, they were not invested back. So at the time, they had to be giving them half of what they could take to school because there wasn't enough in the supermarket. And before you knew it, it just completely ran down. Yeah, and that also affected the other businesses because the mom was taking money from the other business to put into the supermarket because that was bringing in money more compared to the other two. But then, this one was going down. It was like taking from Peter to St. Paul, and then at the end of the day.
So that's owner's draw. So that's just one of several things that will. And then the mindset. Do you have a large enough mindset to scale? If you are still operating on the small level and just day to day, I'm just running the business just to meet my personal needs to support my lifestyle, then you're not thinking about growing it. become big, to become a market leader and an industry leader. So those are some of the things that I would think of in relation to that question.
Now, I know you talked a little bit about draining habits, but can you tell us what are some of these everyday habits that quietly destroy people's financially without them even realizing it?
We've touched on some of them. Number one is not even tracking your expenses, because that's a game changer. Once you can track, you just get that discipline daily of saying, I'm going to punch into this little app what I spent today. Because you have so much money that you're going to have to give this person 1K, give this person 2K. Unless you track, you document your income, you track. That's how you know that maybe somebody in the house is pilfering, stealing your money. Somebody in a particular place is stealing your money.
Or in the business.
Exactly. Or someone in your business is stealing your money. There's money, there are leakages, right? So you want to, by tracking, you can identify leakages. You can say, look, what happened to this? What happened to that? Are there some direct debits on my account that are just pulling money? Do I reconcile my bank statement? Do I even pull up the statement and say, look, let me even look at some of these things here to know what's going on? So there are day-to-day habits like that, not being disciplined, I see something, I want it. The desire to eat out so much when you can't afford it, when it's better for you to just cook at home sometimes, right? And there's nothing wrong with eating out, but if you can't afford it, if you don't have a budget, if you don't have all of this, then it becomes a problem. So you have day-to-day habits like that of spending, wanting things. Just, I want this, I like this, I have to have that. Those are some of day-to-day habits, things that you account day-to-day, and that we just need to really, really look inward and say, what's going on? Why do I really need this thing? I want. Yes. It always starts with education. Knowledge. Wisdom being the principal thing. Position. You need knowledge. So the first thing is that you now have to get to a place where you begin to prioritize financial education. Books, series, trainings, all manner of programs, very, very important. There is so much information out there. Just like this podcast, there are other podcasts, there are training series, there are people they can follow online, watch their videos. Wonderful, wonderful people like Dr. Oluwabusayo Ola is on YouTube, people like Dr. Charles Apoki, also on YouTube. These are people that will help you begin that process of gaining financial education, and then reading, buying books, attending programs, being there when people are talking about finances. So important. So that's the first one. The next one will be putting yourself among people, in the middle of people. Look at the people around you. Are they the kind of people that, what do they say? How do they think? Are they kind of rich people are greedy, rich people are bad, people are evil? How do you become what you hate? You understand? So if you are one of those that you hate people that are wealthy, you hate people that are this thing, saying this, they are stealing our money. You understand? Somebody say every rich person must have committed a crime. Every rich person must have done something bad to me. If you believe all of those things, you will never move into that category. So that being said, first step is financial education. There is no way around that.
So having been an entrepreneur, having run businesses, and you're still running, can you tell us, what does success really mean to you?
It's not just enough to say financial success is accomplishing your goal, because there's a lot. Finances are so important, and money is a spirit. So accomplishing your goal will not capture that fully when you're talking about financial success. I accomplished my goal. My goal may be to make XYZ amount. In a lot of things that I do in life, I like to take a few steps back to look at it. When I look at financial success, for me, I believe certain things. Number one, the end hardly ever justifies the means.
Yes.
I believe that the end hardly ever justifies the means. So when I look at financial success, I try as much as possible not to see it just from getting to a particular place. But for me, it's about, can you build wealth? Can you build wealth engines that allow you to impact positively the world around you? So that's number one, impact. Number two, while in line with purpose, while you are fulfilling your purpose at the same time, right? And number three, getting to that, doing that and getting and continuing in that while not compromising on the key things, attributes that make you you. Not compromising on your core beliefs, your principles, your values. That is, those three things must be there. The impact, positive impact of the world around you. Purpose, keeping purpose in line with purpose as you do that. And then not compromising on certain things. So that you don't get to your place of financial, quote-unquote, success and look in the mirror and not recognize who you now are. The Bible says, what shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? So I want to, as much as I won't gain, I must preserve certain things, right? So it also says, a good name is more desirable than riches. So it is not just about money as an end. Having money, but I had to sacrifice my family. I had money, I had to sacrifice my name. I had to sacrifice my integrity. Because we have people now who have the money. For example, it was topical in the news that a former minister was arrested and is sentenced to 75 years in prison. By pure definition of financial success, if divided is the amount of money in his bank account, then yes, we can say it's a financial success. But majority of us will not want to be in his shoes right now, even though. So there is that, there must be that holistic view for me. It's not just about deep down inside, the end hardly ever justifies the means. And I understand that God is more interested in, God is as interested in my outcome, in my process. God is as interested in my process as he is my outcome. Maybe even more interested in the process. So even more interested in how I get where I'm going than just getting there. So I have to take off. For me, I think about these things and I understand that, look, there are certain principles, there are certain things I won't sacrifice just for money. And I understand that, look, money is a spirit. Money has power. Money has the ability to change you. Can you remain grounded? Can you keep a lot of these things, even as you make money, as you build wealth engines, as you create different systems that help you make, manage, and multiply your money?
You've heard it all from Dr. Ola. The mindset of money goes just beyond the desire to want to get money, but you have to learn how to make money, how to manage it, and to multiply it. This is the much we can take today on Successory Business Lounge. Till I come your way again, I am Chana Ijoga.